everybody. Thanks for being here. Aren't you excited about what we're going to be?
It's a chocolatey kind of day.
That's what it sounds like. And hence why I have some Hershey's with me.
I don't have any of that in my refrigerator. I used to always have some of that in my refrigerator.
I used to always have some. This is brand spanking new. I just bought it because I didn't have any, which I was surprised with myself that I didn't have any in the fridge, because that's something that's always been in my fridge since I was a kid. Always had Hershey syrup, which is interesting. There's certain things that Mama would buy brand name, Best Foods mayo, and Hershey syrup.
Yeah.
Other than that, we didn't have brand name anything because expensive shit. So today, y'all, what do we have today? Well, it was chocolate covered, whatever it was, right?
I think it was like a chocolate covered day, or
yes,
chocolate covered cherry day, or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Whatever you may have, chocolate covers something or other, with some kind of peppermint drink of some sort.
Well, I skipped out on the peppermint drink because I didn't feel like driving out to get peppermint.
Well, what I realized is that I still had some Rimple Mints, which is peppermint schnapps.
Oh, yeah. That's the stuff. I think it was last year I swore off I wasn't doing the schnapps thing again.
Well, yeah, that's true, but it's a little guy. And some Crown Royal. With what was originally going to be hot cocoa, my Mexican hot cocoa, my little abuelita, which I have with me. My office neighbor brought me a Dutch Brothers white chocolate mocha. So I'm going to be up for a little bit with this one, and I know this, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I transferred it to a pretty glass, what I was going to do is turn it into an iced drink, but I had to go get the ice and I forgot to do that. So I'm going to do without. So it's going to be cold. It's just not going to be iced, but I could do that. So
I almost was going to go get I thought about going over to Starbucks about an hour ago and get a peppermint white mocha ice, because it's really good. They're peppermint white mochas I really like, but Starbucks drinks, to me, I have to doctor them. They put the syrup is too much. It's like you've got to dial it back.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of times I will ask for the for it iced, but lightly iced, or I'll add more ice to it. Just depending on what's going on. And why don't I have we're gonna do it this way. I use my knife to stir my drink.
Knife to stir the drink.
Oh, that works. Ooh, num num num. So what I did then, what I originally was going to do was there was a couple things, but things sometimes happen where things don't go the way you expect. So what I was going to do was a peppermint white Russian.
Okay.
And I was going to add vodka and peppermint schnapps. And I had plenty of like the peppermint patties, but I don't know where they went. I think I kept them at Sean's and I can't find them. So I don't know where they were, but I was going to get a glass and making them all pretty. But this morning, as I was pouring the half and half, which I just purchased last Wednesday, I think it was. So it's very new. I was going to pour it into one of my mason jars to make it easy to transport. I poured it and I was like, I'm very sensitive nose. So I have this whiff of something and I went, well, what was that? And so then I got my nose up to the carton and I was like dying. Eyes were watering. I had to redo my eyeliner because my eyes were watering. It was like,
wow,
pour it down, wash. I was dying. It was gagging. It was bad. So I said, okay, well, apparently I'm not doing a white Russian. So one of the other things that I had on the list was Mexican hot cocoa, because I love Mexican hot cocoa. And of course, with that meant I'm going to put some peppermint because I can't do that. Sometimes what I do is that I get one of the peppermint candies and I throw it in when I'm making my Mexican hot cocoa so that it melts and it just really gets in there. But I didn't have time to do that. So I was just going to use my instant with the Rumple mints. But then I thought, since it is coffee, it's a white chocolate mocha from Dutch Brothers. Thank you to my office neighbor here who decided that I needed to have coffee this afternoon. So I'm like, and I said, you know what, this is going to be on the podcast. And what I did is that I added Crown Royal and the peppermint schnapps. Probably a half an ounce of each. I did not add that much. I have a lot of work to do, so I thought, pare down on it. And I thought that would be a good one. But there's other ones that I'm going to experiment with because there's some fun peppermint stuff out there that I was like, ooh. So you have your chocolate. That's a dessert wine.
I found this in the refrigerator, and we had it. It's a chocolate dessert wine. Just a little bottle of chocolate cherry dessert wine, and I can't say as to whether I don't know if I've ever tasted it.
And I think I might have a chocolate dessert wine. Let me look. Let me scooch on over into my office bar and look, because I thought I remembered having.
It has a real cork into it, so it ought to be a good wine.
Oh, I do. This is what I have. A chocolatini.
A chocolatini. Yes. Didn't we do that on an episode or something?
Chocolate something, but I didn't open it because once you open it, you have to refrigerate it. Yeah. And I thought, you know what, unless I'm ready to drink it, I did not want to open it. This is from Texas. So this is a Texas product. Imagine me, Uptown Cocktails with the Texas product. It even has the Longhorn in there.
I know. Wait. I want you to see that Longhorn, and I want you to look real close at the tea.
Oh, it's a cork with the Longhorn. That is so cool.
It's Cowtown Winery out of Fort Worth.
Nice. Very cool.
So
that's where I got this one. This one is out of Carrollton, Texas. Southern Champion, Carrollton, Texas.
That's like a stone's throw from me.
So that one, I had this one. I just didn't open it. So that's look at that color. That is beautiful.
Very beautiful burgundy red to that.
I need a picture of that. So bear with me one moment while I get my camera over here.
And I think it might be dialing off my red lights in the background too, but still.
No, I love it. That's gorgeous color. I like that. So what does it taste like? Because that is one.
It smells like a typical red.
Okay.
Like a good red, like a dessert wine.
Okay.
Cherry. You got your cherry aftertaste. There is a little bit of cocoa, like a cocoa aftertaste.
Okay.
Cherry flavor going in across the tongue. I'm trying. I wish I knew what grapes that were. I'm trying to picture the grape.
It's probably a late harvest.
Yeah.
Because anytime you get that rich, sweet, either red or white, it's always a late harvest grape. Like a Gewürztraminer, whenever it's a late harvest, it's just that puckery sweet. Or port, again, it's the late harvest Zin usually when you're grabbing those, Zin grapes. And so they're very rich. But yours was not that dark.
No,
it was a dark color.
It doesn't say the grape, but it says it is a grape wine with cherry and chocolate added.
Oh.
The flavored dessert wine. This wine is a natural medley of ripe black cherries layered with mocha, espresso, and dark chocolate notes.
Okay.
I cannot find anything that tells me that the grapes they used into it.
Let's look. What's the
Cowtown Winery, and I'm going to have to go.
Yeah. And that's your cherry wine?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, and the price point is really good. I like that. I really do like that. So it does not have the sweet white, sweet blush, and sweet reds. Oh, it doesn't say either here. And then they have a chocolate raspberry port. So that is a port. So, okay.
It doesn't have a richness of a port.
Okay. So if you're, let's see if, and its alcohol by volume is 16%.
Yes.
So that's about a little bit more than you would on some of your, depends, I guess, because a Malbec and a Cab, you're looking at 13, 14%. Your Pinot, you're looking at about 13, 14%. So it's a little bit higher in alcohol by volume than most of your other traditional reds and even whites. But what I would like to get is the details of and it doesn't have it online. That's quite interesting.
No, it does not.
Yeah, so I think you have to go in to the Fort Worth stockyards to really get a feel for and ask those questions because they're not, you can't get it online. You can't get that information. So I think going into the location and asking the questions, you'll be able to get a little bit more information on it. Because it's not, and it is in the stockyard area. The first time I ever went to the rodeo was at the Fort Worth stockyards. It was awesome. First time ever. So check them out, ask the questions, see what, comes about and what you like.
Well, I do know how we got it because a couple months back this year, we did one weekend where we stayed 2 nights in Fort Worth, and one of the days we just went over. I think we went over Friday night.
Okay.
And Saturday, we just took a car over to. We didn't even drive. We actually got a car that dropped us off down there, and then we had the driver come back because we ended up buying a case of wine.
Okay. Not a bad thing.
And this is one that we got. Which, oh my gosh. And once you open a dessert wine, you better finish it because,
Yeah, you can't let it sit. It'll just go ugly. Yeah, you don't want that. So peppermint schnapps, this is a clear mint flavored. This is a distilled spirit. Yeah. They use neutral grain and peppermint extract, and it essentially tastes like liquid candy cane. And it is inspired by German schnapps, but this is the American creation. And it's mainly drank here in the U.S., not abroad. And it is usually also in winter cocktails. And, of course, alongside chocolate. In this case, white chocolate mocha. Yep. And you'll see it in shooters also. So there is a difference between the peppermint schnapps and the crème de menthe. They're made pretty close to, and there are a lot of similarities, but the peppermint schnapps has a little bit more of an intense mint flavor, and also there's more alcohol. And the funny thing is the crème de menthe, which normally crème means cream, it usually refers to the creaminess in it. It's also not creamy, and it's also not as sweet to drink alone. So the crème de menthe has that gentler mint flavor, and it's a lower proof, so it's a little bit more versatile. This one with a little bit goes a long way. And when I got it, I didn't want the big bottle. Then I wanted something smaller. And the guy says, oh, for what you're going to do, he goes, get this one. And he says, but be very careful. He goes, because a little goes a long way. And it is very true. So if you want that lower proof, it will be a little bit easier to blend in with your cocktails. But if you do want that kick, this is the way to go. If you want that very pepperminty, this is the way to go. If you want a hot cocoa with peppermint, this is the way to go. The other way you can do is just throw a candy cane in with your hot chocolate as you're making it, if you're making it from scratch. Or you could also get some of the chocolate and mint that melt in with your hot cocoa. But remember, your hot cocoa has to be very hot because otherwise it will not melt.
Yeah.
That's very important. So there's mixing it with hot cocoa, mixing it with chocolate, adding, making the decoration with your mint leaves or peppermint on the edge of your glass. That always makes it look very pretty. So this is now a special coffee instead of my special hot cocoa that I was originally going to do. But you can make your own by dissolving sugar and water, just like you're making a simple syrup, and then using mint extract. You could also use natural mint, but of course, that's going to take a lot more mint. I kill mint, so I don't have a whole lot going on around me. But if you do have a lot of mint, you can just throw it in there, let it simmer, and then let it seep. Strain it, and now you have your simple syrup. Then add vodka to it. And so you're going to have your flavored simple syrup with the vodka together, shake it, combine it. There you go. Easy peasy. I didn't have time to go through all of that, but at least you know exactly what's going into it. And, and you don't want to get sick on this. So when it comes to your food, what did you bring to the table?
So because we had this idea of chocolate covered. Now, the only thing I didn't get, and I have them in my, I do have them out in the kitchen, but I did not put them on here, is I have a whole thing full of M&Ms, both regular chocolate, regular peanut, and peanut butter. I'm saying, I have that in dishes out in my house.
Okay.
But instead, I went with a couple different chocolate-covered things. Chocolate-covered pretzels. So chocolate-covered pretzels are going to have the saltiness of your pretzel, all right, but the sweetness of your chocolate on the outside.
Right.
On this side here, we have chocolate-covered espresso beans.
Oh, okay.
Always a favorite of mine. I always love that. All right, it's a darker chocolate onto it, and it's not really milky. Then on this side, I have the milky. They're like a milk chocolate-covered raisins. Which is one of our huge favorite of mine. You know what I mean? Remember the goobers or whatever we had?
Yeah.
As a kid, yeah.
Get stuck in my teeth and all.
And then right in the center there, I have two chocolate covered cherries.
I got it.
Yeah, to go with my chocolate covered cherry, our chocolate cherry one. So
very cool.
Then I just was going to munch on them tonight.
Well, everything I was
mood first.
Yeah, everything was dessert related. Dessert. So I couldn't pass up a brownie. So I made a brownie. My secret ingredient for brownie is adding a little bit of chili powder into the mix, because that just gives it a little bit of a kick, a little bit of something that it's like, what is that? And you don't know. To make it to get a brownie to be more cakey, add more eggs. So add an extra egg in there and it'll make it more cakey. If you want it a little bit denser, then go with whatever amount of egg. So the other thing that I did right here is French crepe. And I love savory, but what I did yesterday, because I knew I was going to have time today, was I flambéed the banana with butter, brown sugar. I added light rum, because that's what I had. I didn't have any brandy, and then I lit it. And so then it's like, and then of course I put it aside, let it cool, and then I heated it and I put it in here, and then I topped it off with chocolate. I could have also done like a chocolate whipped cream, but I didn't have time for that.
Didn't put any ice cream in it?
No, I did not. I have some in the fridge, but I was trying to get stuff done. Well, what I did that's a little different is one thing that some people do not like. They either love it or they hate it. I don't think there's an in-between, is mole. Mole has chocolate in it. Mm-hmm. So this is chicken mole. And then, of course, I had to have the rice next to it, and I have my tortillas over here. So this one has a lot of spices in there, and there's chocolate in there. The abuelita's Mexican chocolate. And some people will put raisins into their mole. Mm-hmm. Nope. I tried it one time because it was like, I was like, okay, it just, one, it makes it too sweet, and two, I don't like it. It just raisins into, no, no, no. The other thing that some recipes called for is brown sugar. Again, I do not add the brown sugar to it. Again, it's too sweet. This is a savory. The chocolate gives it the flavor. There's a certain sweetness to the chocolate, but it is dark chocolate, so it's not your sweet sweet. So that's what I like about that. Normally, it's I like to make it with bone-in chicken. This time I use thighs, and I did remove the chicken, the bones in the chicken, because I wanted it to cook all the way through, and I had less time than I normally would have. So I wanted it to cook quicker. So I removed the chicken bones. I threw them in a pot with some veggies that I had used for the pot roast that I made. And then with the broth, I made the rice. And so it was kind of, I was using all parts of it. And then whatever was left over in the bone, I pulled all that off. And then that became Maverick food. So, so my thighs got used all around. So this is what I have for my chocolate, chocolate stuff. Chocolate covered everything.
It is I love chocolate. I love having, usually we'll have, I used to keep different chocolate bars, dark chocolate and stuff in the freezer and fridge at our house. And it's always something good to have munch on. But like in this case here, my wine tonight, I'm drinking a grape. I can taste the grape. I can taste the cherry, and I can taste the notes of chocolate into it. And I know I'm having a steak for dinner. So I'm probably going to pull this wine out and still have it with some of my dinner. But then again, I don't know what's in my.
Are you keeping it cold?
Yeah. Well, right now it's not cold because it is sitting here in my desk, but it's not close to the lights. So.
So one of the things that I did to heat up my tortillas this time is that I heated up a paper towel. I damped in it, and then I wrapped the tortillas in it. My preferred way of heating up tortillas when I'm not at home is getting one of the small waffle irons, putting them in the middle, and then heating it up. It is the best way to heat up tortillas without being in front of a stove. I used to do that when I was working as a waitress at Rick's in Commerce, California. When we had menudo on the weekends, that's the way we heated up the tortillas. It works, man.
Well, cherry and the candy really goes well with cherry and the wine.
Oh, wow. So the chocolate has a little bit of a kick because of the spices. And then I take a sip of the drink, and the peppermint just goes, here I am. And I did not put that much, where it was before, right up here. And I mean, I added maybe a half an ounce, if that, of the Crown Royal. I also didn't add a whole lot, maybe a half an ounce of that. But the mint is, again, you have to be very careful when you're using peppermint schnapps.
It will overpower everything you do. And you've got, that's my biggest thing with doing the peppermint drinks at Starbucks. Now, I never have done the peppermint schnapps in them, right? I would get, because it would just be too much peppermint.
Okay.
I would have gotten the peppermint mocha from Starbucks and maybe done a little vodka or tequila to it. And I think the tequila probably I would lean more because it would give you the salty, all right, give you a little bit of savory with your sweet.
With the banana on the crepe, and I love fresh crepes. Did not have time to make them, so I just purchased them. I was very skeptical, but this is the brand that I got. And yesterday, of course, I needed to check it out because I never bought them. And they have the paper in between, and it's nice and thin and beautiful. And I was able to pull it off, and I tasted it, and I go, oh, this is not bad. So it does taste really nice, even without heating it, because I did not heat it up. I just, as is, I allowed the banana to do the heating up for me. and it rolled up. It is very delicate, like a regular crepe, but it's not as pliable. So you got to be very careful because mine started to tear. So I had to continue to roll, and so the tear went underneath. But now it's falling apart. So it is very delicate. Again, my peppermint overpowers. So if I were to have it just with the coffee, I'm going to try it again without the peppermint. Okay, right there. That goes well. So my bananas flambe crepe with chocolate over it and just the white chocolate mocha coffee, it goes well because that chocolate with the banana, yummy. With the peppermint, it just overpowers. So I'm going to try my mole with just the coffee versus the peppermint. So with the coffee, I get all the spices from the mole. I just get enhanced because the chocolate just enhances the spices in the mole. With the peppermint, I taste more of the peppermint. I feel the kick from the spices, but it's the peppermint and then a little bit of a kick. Whereas just with the mocha, it's this it's the spices that I'm tasting. So I kind of like it just with the white chocolate mocha. But I have a feeling the peppermint would go very well with the brownie. Do you like edges on a brownie or not edges on a brownie?
I've never really thought about it. I know the center's got to be good and moist. I've had some brownies that the centers weren't moist. They were tough. I want the center of my brownie to be moist. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I love that, but I love the crunchiness of the edge. Just
yeah.
The brownie with the peppermint, that goes very well because the white chocolate mocha and the brownie blend beautifully, and then the peppermint just kicks it up a notch, and it tastes really good. The brownie actually mellows out the peppermint a little bit, so it's like the peppermint is not front and foremost. It just goes nicely. So I think it just depends on the intensity of the chocolate that will determine if the peppermint is going to be allowed to overpower or not.
Yeah.
So
I've tried almost everything on my plate with this wine. I'm going to eat my last two raisins with it because I want to take the raisins and mix it with the wine and see how that goes.
Okay. So what I did is instead of taking a bite of tortilla, I had a bite of the crepe with the mole. And just the crepe itself without the banana has a certain sweetness. And it goes beautifully with the mole because the mole has that spiciness in there. It's got all those herbs and spices and chocolate in there. And then you got this delicate crepe that just has a light sweetness. That goes beautifully together too. So I really like that. And you can always serve mole with rice, or you can serve it by itself. You can serve it with fried plantains. You can make tacos out of it. You can make enchiladas out of it. So there's a lot of different things you can do with mole other than just eating the mole. So turn it into a tostada, add the black beans, add your shredded chicken with mole on there, then add some avocado, some lettuce, maybe sour cream, maybe not. But that'll taste really good. I have made mole enchiladas, So instead of using the red enchilada sauce, I use the mole sauce to go on the tortillas after I've filled them with chicken, or you can just fill the inside and then wrap them, and then just add a drizzle of the sauce on top. So there's various ways you can eat mole. And so if you see it at a Mexican restaurant and you see some mole enchiladas, if you can get an order of 1 or 2 instead of 3 or 4, that'll give you a taste, or have them put the sauce on the side. So that way you can put as much sauce as you want. So
I do got to say, when I had my chocolate covered raisins with this, it brings out the chocolate. You can taste the chocolate in the wine when you do that.
Okay. I'm wondering if because of the sweetness of the raisin,
yes, I think that's why. Because I think the sweetness of the raisin then accents. It helps you accent all 3 pieces to it.
Okay. So, I'm going to add a bit more Crown to see if that mellows this out. I'll add a little bit more coffee in there. I'm trying to see if I can mellow out the peppermint.
I'm betting it's a tough thing, because that's what I've always found. Once you do a peppermint drink too strong,
you can't mellow.
You can't mellow it out. You have to rebuild the drink.
So again, use it sparingly.
Yes.
If it calls for a shot, do a teaspoon and go from there. You can always add more. You can't remove it.
That is so true. And peppermint is the one thing that will overpower almost anything you do. Oh, I think the pretzel's the best thing with this wine.
Really?
Yeah. It's got the saltiness to it.
I was going to say, is it the saltiness?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Change it. Now I'm going to do one last. I got my last chocolate cherry. And I've got 2 boxes of them here, but I'm going to save them.
You have 2 boxes of chocolate covered cherries? Mm-hmm. You're like, hello, why wouldn't I?
You don't just buy 1 chocolate covered cherry. Come on.
So how many are in each box?
10 in each box.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm pretty happy with what I got. It's going to be dinner, of course. So this is very yummy. I thoroughly enjoy this. I think I slightly overcooked my bananas. They're a little bit on the mushy side, but they're inside the crepe, and soft bananas is not a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, I got one little bit of wine. I could pour more. I just don't want to. I'm going to just finish off my pretzel, finish off my wine, and say that I have my dessert first.
I was going to say, life is uncertain. Eat dessert first. You're going to have more of it afterwards, after dinner, and this is your aperitif before you have your dinner.
It is.
And this is my caffeine, as I.
As you work out. So anyway.
Yeah. When you're reheating mole, another thing is start with the lower amount, because if you leave it in too long, if you're doing it in the microwave, it will burn the mole because there is sugar in there. So just keep that in mind. And they do sell, if you're like going, I don't feel like taking the time to make mole because that's a lot of ingredients, a lot of time. You can buy the jars where it's a 3 to 1 ratio of the jar to water. And sometimes you need more, and you just let it dissolve. And the whole purpose is to allow the chicken to really get into the sauce and let the sauce penetrate into the chicken. If you don't do that, then it's just going to be mole right on top. It's like you just throw a sauce as an afterthought. You need it to really get in there. So the overnight in this was perfect because I made this yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I simmered it for a while. And then, of course, I put it away. And then it's all day, all night, and then into today. So it really got in there. So it gives you more flavor. And if you use the bone-in chicken, you're going to get even further flavor because you're going to get the bone broth, if you will, into the sauce. That just elevates it to the next level. Just gives you a little bit yummy, yummy. So I just use some of the broth into the sauce, so that because I had pulled out all the bones, so I used partial water and then another cup or so of the broth from the chicken bones to put into it to help finish, getting the sauce to the consistency I wanted it, because it was too thick for me.
Okay.
Oh. I'm not mad at this. I hadn't made mole in a long time. I hadn't made crepes like forever and a day, although I didn't make these. And I hadn't made pot roast in a few years. So I was in a cooking little frenzy yesterday. So there I was, cooking and working. And then at the end of the day, it's like, ooh, watch football and eat and finish cooking.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that football game. I slept through it, but yeah, whatever.
Well, a friend owes me a cocktail. I said, let's bet $1. And he says, that's all you think about your Cowboys? I said, okay, cocktail. So next time he's in town, I get a cocktail.
Uh-huh.
So I know he's always a good game. Sure it was.
I fell asleep watching the game. Then I'm not into sports, as most of you know. I just it's because the Cowboys were on and my wife wanted to watch it, so I fell asleep on the couch watching it. We only have one TV in the house, and we're trying to keep it that way this time. So anyway, well, this week here, it was an interesting thing with chocolate being part of our thing, and it was designed to be chocolate covered, right? So not necessarily I just throw a bunch of chocolate on a plate. No, it was the actual definition we had was chocolate covered. All right. And I literally looked at how many different things are chocolate covered. And I looked at getting like cake pops that are chocolate covered. I looked at all kinds of things to do. I decided to go with just 4 different candies that work. All right. And I really, like I said, in my pantry, there are a huge jar of M&Ms. You know what I mean? It's like, I did not want to cheat that bad.
All right. No. Well, see, the thing was that everything I looked at, everything was dessert.
Yeah. I knew it was all, I kind of knew we were all being dessert this week. I kind of knew it.
And I'm not a big dessert person, and I hate baking. And so it was like, what can I do that's not a dessert, And the brownie was, Anita.
Good morning, Anita.
The brownie was like the closest I was going to get, because I was like, I don't want to bake.
Yeah.
I'm baking food, that's one thing, but baking like pastries and stuff, I'm like, I don't want to. I'm like, I don't have the energy for that.
Yeah.
But I was okay with making mole, and I was okay with, the crepes, because that one I was like, hey, that's easy enough. I don't have to make the crepe. I'll just buy it. And that one was a happenstance. As I was at the store in the produce department, I'm like, oh, I can do crepes with bananas and then put Hershey syrup over it, so that way it's chocolate covered.
It's chocolate covered.
So that's,
let's talk about some interesting things here. Last couple of minutes of our broadcast of things that you can put chocolate in that you never really thought. All right, I put chocolate in my chili. Do you?
No, but I just found a recipe for a chocolate chili, and I almost made that. I was like this close, but I already had I already had in my mind I wanted to make mole. Uh-huh. So I went in that direction, but I was like, oh, I never would have thought to make chili with chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
I was
I always put some chocolate. I always put a dark chocolate in my chili. Always.
So next time I make chili, I might just get my abuelita, little dark chocolate and shave it in there or throw it in there because it's going to melt. And so I'm like, okay, I will try that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that mole. I mean, that there you can make it without the chocolate, but it defeats the purpose of mole. Mole is supposed to have chocolate in it, and so that's why a lot of people do not like mole because they're put off by the chocolate. But that's part of what gives it the flavor is that dark chocolate that's in there. It's got a little bit of bitterness in there, but a little bit of sweetness. And if you're not adding the raisins and the brown sugar, it's going to be consistent to what a good mole is with the spices, that little bit of a kick from the spices. What else do I put chocolate into that you normally wouldn't? I'm trying to think of, I don't know what else I put chocolate in.
There is like a Starbucks in my mornings. Every now and then I get like a croissant that's a chocolate croissant. And almost everybody who gets that chocolate croissant, they heat it up. I don't.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
I want to be able to pull the chunks of chocolate. I don't want to have it gooey in the center. I want to have it chunks.
Yeah.
All right. But I don't eat my regular croissants heated either. So, yeah.
Well, a regular croissant, I love it heated, but I can eat it without being heated. But if there's anything in it, unless it's like a cream cheese one, I don't want to heat it. It's by itself, it's fine. But the cream cheese one, when you get that meltiness, it tastes pretty yummy. But I don't want anything else on it. I just want the cream cheese. And it's just enough to make it warm, but not gooey hot.
Yeah.
And so I'm very particular that way. I love the chocolate covered donuts. There's something about like those prepackaged ones that that tastes yummy to me. When you have that donut,
it's the chocolate dip on top. It's just on top.
Oh, well, if it's a donut from the donut place, yeah. A chocolate bar with just the top, absolutely no filling, just that. Just enough. But if I'm getting a prepackaged like little donut box, I prefer the chocolate ones over the powdered or the crumbled, whatever it is the other one is. The chocolate ones, just when you get that fresh cakey on the inside and the chocolate on the outside, that's yummy.
Yeah.
But it is prepackaged, so it's not like freshly made at your donut shop.
Yeah. You talk about crepes. All right. We've done a lot. And crepes and Gwen's gotten to be. I mean, I think we have a pan to actually make them on. She has a pan to actually make them on a crepe pan.
I used to have one.
Yeah. But we do our crepes. I've never. I don't know if we've ever dripped chocolate on top of them, but we have done them with our fillings. I used to have cherry filling, and I have a strawberry rhubarb filling that I love having into it. But I've never thought to actually think about it. I mean, even that. With the drizzle of chocolate across it would be good.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's, when they fold it in four and then drizzle the chocolate, because it's not a lot. It's just very yummy. Your strawberry rhubarb, do you make it or do you buy it pre-made?
No, we buy a pie filling from Kroger.
Okay.
Grapes. Yeah. I think it's designed to be a pie filling, and we actually use it just for crepes. That's all we ever use it for.
Okay. Yum. That's a great idea.
Yeah. The other thing I thought about was, ice cream. We all put chocolate on our ice cream, right?
Right.
But do you remember the chocolate? And that they may still have it. They used to call. I think it's called Magic Shell or something like that. Did you put it on cold ice cream, and because the ice cream's cold, it makes a shell.
Yes.
But it reminds me of when we were younger. We would go to like Dairy Queen or the Tasty Freeze, and they do the soft serve cone. Yep. And then they had a pot with cocoa, and they would just upside down dip it inside of it.
Yep.
Remember that? Yep. No.
Oh, some yumminess.
Yep. Yummy things that were all about chocolate. So.
Right. And then there was this place in Catalina Island in Southern California that they would add a little bit of chocolate at the bottom of the cone and then put your ice cream so that when it melted, it wasn't melting the bottom of the cone and having it drip out. A little bit of chocolate would just harden at the bottom, and it would just keep, it would help hold your ice cream as it's melting because it's 80 some odd degrees. And so your ice cream's melting as you're eating it. You're not getting this drippiness going through the bottom of your cone. So that was another great idea with chocolate.
Yeah. There's so many things I would think that, our listeners probably could chime in and tell us that they've done with chocolate. But, having chocolates around the house whether they be mini candies, M&Ms. I always have them on a dish at Christmas time in my house. Between them and cookies, right? You know what I mean? I always have a dish, and they're always in there for you to be able to pick a chocolate out and eat it. Yeah. It's just something we always have in our house at Christmas time.
So my one of my carriers, Pacific Source, they gave me the mug, which I absolutely love this mug. I actually have two, but this one I keep it at the office. The other one I have at home. But it's, every so often, I pull out a Dove dark chocolate. I also have another mini dark chocolate. This one's from Switzerland. Then, of course, this one is Balloon Gown from Balloon Gown PDX. She makes balloon art. So I got that from her. And then, of course, Kit Kat. And then, of course, Sweet Tart. But this is my little guy. That's my chocolate holder that I keep on my desk. That it lasts me a long time because I don't eat sweets all that much, but every so often I have this little craving where I want a little something, and that's where my dark chocolate comes in. So I don't do a whole lot of chocolate, but when I do, I'm very particular, and I'm like, I want a good chocolate. So it's
to me, it's just a Christmas thing to keep chocolates in dishes around the house.
Okay.
I don't year round. Every now and then during the year, I'll pull a dish out and I'll put a small thing of M&Ms in it, but I don't. It is a Christmas thing. All right. And I remember some Christmases where I actually would get the bag of M&Ms and I would only put green and red M&Ms in it.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. So
very nice. I worked with a guy in Southern California that he would go around the office. He would buy bags and bags of chocolate, and whoever had a little candy dish, he would go around. And so in the morning you'd come in and there's candy in the little dish. And he would do that once every couple of 2-3 weeks. He would fill the entire building. Mind you, there's over 1,000 people in this building. He would fill everybody's candy dish in the building. That's just what he did. That's what he enjoyed doing. And he would do it at all hours of the morning or all hours at night, who knows what time. But it was when nobody was there that he would go around doing this. And everybody knew it was him, but it was like, he didn't want to get thank yous. He didn't want to, he's like, did not want to talk to people. Don't get near him. It was like he'd rather hit the wall before he touched anybody. So he was very much nope. But those were the things he did, for everybody. That's the way he showed how much he appreciated the organization and the workers, the coworkers, the teamwork, and so everybody appreciated him. But we just left him alone. It was like that was our way of thanking him, was leaving him alone.
Yep. Well, as we get ready to wrap down this week's episode, all right, guys, chocolate and Christmas. It's just something that goes hand in hand. That's why we did this episode this week. All right. And yes, you can have chocolate as far as candy, you have chocolate as far as alcohol. All right. There's all kinds of things that you can do with your recipes this Christmas season to really put chocolate into it.
Got to try new things.
So
any shout outs for you?
No, because it was all done by my wife. And apparently, thanks to Cowtown for having me buy this, because I had it stuck in my refrigerator for apparently 3 or 4 months.
Good thing you found it, for this episode. That would have been worse if you would have found it after the fact. You would have gone, I could have just done this.
I could have used that. Yeah. So, But next week's episode, I know exactly where I'm going to get stuff for the episode. Okay. Exactly what I'm going to have. And everything. So that's the good thing about planning out a couple of weeks ahead. Are
you going to give us a hint, or are you going to keep?
Well, next week is cocoa and cookies. So where do you think I'm getting my cocoa from?
Well, I don't know. Are you going to go to Starbucks and get hot cocoa from Starbucks, or are you going
to? I am, but I'm not telling you what I'm going to put into it.
Oh, special.
Ooh, I'm going to add to it. All right. To make it an interesting drink at home.
Oh, fun. I can't wait. Wait. Well, I will thank the Jefas for the, I always have to look at the name because I always forget, Sin Límites, without limits. My taco proof is also enchilada and crepe and brownie proof. So lipstick still on. One of the mornings, even after I brushed my teeth, I was like, I couldn't get it off. So I had to use my makeup remover to finish getting it off, but this stuff stays on. So the Jefas, I really like this stuff, and I only wear it sparingly because it is red. I mean, wear it for the episode and going out. This isn't my everyday wear. So that's where my is. And
before we go, we do have to mention our Insiders Club. So yes, go to likethewayyoudrink.com. All right, there is a button to join an Insiders Club. You must be 21 to join. We are actually, you can be part of 2024. All right, each episode, knowing what we're going to have in the episode, being able to drink with us, maybe even getting to be on a show, but also getting some other opportunities we have as far as alcohol we will have prepared for you and parties we will have that you can join us.
So will you please go to likethewayyoudrink.com and sign up if you're 21 and over?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not going to say please. I'm going to say just go do it.
That's right. Will you go? Also, go to our YouTube channel. Will you like us there too? Subscribe and just share with your friends if you have gotten some good recipes, some good ideas. If you entertain, if you've been entertained by us, if you've laughed at us, if you think we're kind of goofy, whatever we can do to entertain you, please go to our YouTube channel, and it's at Like the Way You Drink on YouTube, as well as our website, likethewayyoudrink.com.
Yep.
So find us on all your channels.
And this week's episode, every week's episode is brought to you by Gladys and Ice Businesses. So as first, we'll always go to Gladys to tell us about your business and how you help people.
Thank you, Tim. Gladys Boutwell, Insurance by Design. You can go to insurancedesignpros.com. And if you will, on the left-hand side, if you are a business owner, you can get 101 different ways where you can show your staff how much you appreciate them. Because when you appreciate them, you're showing the different types of employee benefits you provide. If you have questions, hey, what can I do? What should I do? What can I afford? Let's have the conversation. Get on my calendar. Go to enrollnoworegon.com, and that's my calendar. That's enrollnoworegon.com. Doesn't matter what state you're in. Just go to that website, and that way you can see what works for you. Cool. And I'll guide you, and I'll find you somebody if I can't. That's Gladys Boutwell, Insurance by Design. And this is my co-host, Tim.
Hey guys, my name is Tim Gillette, and I do websites. We build websites, we design websites, we host websites. We make the process of doing your websites simple and easy by doing it with templates so we can get your site up faster and keep you going. Simple Easy Websites was designed over the fact that we wanted to build an American-based company that helps you so that when you have problems with your website, there's someone in the United States that you can call to get it fixed so that your customers can find you on your website anytime, day or night. You want to find out more if we've got a solution to help you? SimpleEasyWebsites.com. Other than that, any other thing you want to say?
Thank you all very much for being here. We appreciate you. We so love that you are following us, listening to us. You've been with us for 2 years, and hopefully as the year wraps up, you'll continue to stay with us into next year.
Yep. Until next week, guys, have a great week. Cheers.